Hi everybody!
So the King of Fighters 15 recently wrapped up Season 2 content, and wow was it a big season for this legacy fighting game franchise. Last year, during the announcement for Season 2, I was rather critical of it as I didn't like the direction it took. So over the course of 12 months, have my views softened on it, or am I still not a fan of the direction? Watch to the end of the video to find out. Shingo was the character that kicked off the season for us, or should I say Shingo kicked the season off. He's a legacy character who originally debuted in KOF 97. For those not in the know, Shingo pretty much worships the ground Kyo walks on. Some would consider Shingo a lackey for the Kusanagis, since he's an errand boy for both Kyo and his father Saishu. If I'm butchering any names, don't ride my ass too hard. I don't speak Japanese. I'm just a filthy weeb. Anyways, Shingo is really his own man. Just look at his manga adventures, which many KOF fans assume to be canonical, given he can produce flames. Sort of. From the time I've played Shingo in KOF 15, I've definitely enjoyed my time. He's decently fast, and his unique gimmick of critical hits that randomly do extra damage is a ton of fun. Sure, his animations are awkward looking, but that just adds to the fun of playing him. And it's something I adore in SNK games. They're always giving the characters a ton of personality through their animation. This ranges from Vanessa's "Ow my hands" animation after she lays a beatdown on the opponent, B. Jenny's confused expression after beating someone's head in with a shoe. Speaking of...
I might decide the entire... Let's go!
But as you can see, SNK lovingly animate their characters, and Shingo's awkwardness is just super endearing. Basically, I love Shingo, I've had fun with him, and I'm super glad he got included in the roster. He's not just another basic bitch Shoto like I thought he'd be, he's something more. Still of the Shoto archetype, but way more fun to play than a standard Shoto. So let's move on to Kim. So Kim Cap-1 was one of the characters I was most looking forward to in Season 2, because I had dabbled with him a little bit in previous King of Fighters games, and he suited me. I don't know what it is, but Rekka-based fighters are incredibly fun for me to use, and the standard inputs for most Rekkas come very naturally to me. I haven't been disappointed with Kim, and he's actually a character I use often when facing off against my friends who love using Shoto-heavy characters. If I need a Rekka fighter on my team, I'm either aiming for Kim or Kyo. I know some are going to tell me that Kyo is a Shoto, not a Rekka character. That is true to an extent. A lot of his toolkit is that of a Shoto's. However, he does have Rekka-based moves, and they can be some of his strongest. I find if I'm facing a really defensive opponent, Kyo is probably my best choice, with Kim being a close second behind. If I need extra damage output and a versatile character, then I'm picking Kyo. If I need a character who has mix-up potential and a fun-to-pull-off move set, I'm opting for Kim. If I'm being honest, after using Kim in KOF 15, I really want to see him join Tekken 8 at some point as a guest character, just to see his interactions with Hwoarang. You know, since both of them are Taekwondo users, and Tekken is borrowing the special intros from KOF. Anyways, super happy Kim was included. You knew he had to be since he's a fan favorite. Kim is such a fan favorite, there's literally a meme about Kim's pants being their own character. I'm pretty sure Maximilian Dude is the one who started that meme, but I could be wrong. If you know the origin of the Kim's pants meme, let me know in the comments section. Though to be honest, there are other characters whose pants I'd rather get into. So I'm told we're short on time, and I need to keep the show on schedule. So we'll discuss Sylvie, Paula next. If you've watched my previous videos on Sylvie, you'll know that I wasn't a fan of her inclusion. So much so, I released one of the first rant videos on my channel detailing the topic. A card will be popping up on screen now. Of all of the characters from this season, Sylvie has debatably risen the most stock-wise. She's actually a rotational character for me. If I need a Shoto on my team, she is now my go-to character, for whatever reason. She's no longer like the character she was in KOF 14. In that game, she was incredibly slow, and her combos just didn't feel like they had any real flow to them. Also, don't get me started on her costume in 14 again. Multicolor eye vomit is a fucking understatement. It's so bad, it makes the 6th Doctor costume look fucking tame. Anyways, this video isn't about Pikachu Bitch's costume or a Time Lord's. It's about how she plays in KOF 15. After playing Sylvie for a while in 15, I finally understand the appeal. She's quirky as hell, but she's fun to use. She's the type of Shoto I like, the oddball ones. Sure, some of her moves are basic Shoto, but the flavoring of them is unique, and she has enough unique moves to make her feel different. Which is why I call most Shotos basic bitches. Anyways, I don't have much more to say on Sylvie, so let's move on to a character who's into meting out justice, just in a different manner from Kim's type of justice. I hated Najd in The King of Fighters 14. Like Sylvie, I just couldn't get into the groove of her combos, which was a shame as I loved her design. But it is that way sometimes. You'll pick up a character and try them out just because they have a very cool design, and then you find they aren't your speed. That's totally fine. However, in The King of Fighters 15, I find Najd is very much my speed, and like Kim, she is a Rekka-based fighter of sorts. Najd does have more going on for her than just Rekka's though. She also has some functions akin to a Shoto, even though her projectiles are shorter range than most. I do find her exceptionally fun to play as, she's fast, and her combos flow in a logical manner now. She also has some pretty interesting lore that I don't have time to discuss in this video. If any of you want to see me do a lore video on the characters I use in The King of Fighters 15, please let me know, and if we hit 1,000 subscribers by December 25th, I'll do the video. So if you've enjoyed the video so far, hit the subscribe button. But yeah, Najd is a character I'm really enjoying in 15, and she has made the game fun for me, which for a while it wasn't because I had no one to play with. If this is how SNK intend her to be going forward, I hope she is base roster for The King of Fighters 16. So Goenitz is up next. He's a free boss character, and there's not much more to say. He had some heavy involvement in the King of Fighters storyline back in the day. Like Omega Rugal, he was free and added to the boss rush mode, which I imagine is going to be absolutely epic once KOF 15 reaches its end of life. I've played him a little bit, and it's clear he's a nerfed version of the boss character, as his damage output is high, and he's generally speaking a well-specced character. I just don't have much interest in playing him. So, let's move on. Duo Lon was the penultimate character. He has a cool sense of style, and his moveset is interesting, but he doesn't really do anything for me. It's mostly because he just doesn't feel good to play for me personally. I can't really put into words why. Something just feels off. Maybe if I spent some more time with him in the lab, he'd start making sense to me. But yeah, Duo Lon isn't a character I particularly enjoy using, and I feel much the same I do towards him as I do towards Billy in Season 1, a character you have to work way too hard to do much with. The final character of Season 2 was Hinako, a character nicknamed the Sumo Princess because she's so damn obsessed with sumo that's what she lives and breathes. A deep character? She is not. Is she a fun character though? For me, no, she isn't. But for someone who loves grapplers, they are going to absolutely adore her. I also feel like she fulfills a role on the King of Fighters roster that wasn't previously served. A grappler who's relatively easy to pick up and play. The closest I can think of off the top of my head is Blue Mary. But does she really count? I don't feel like she does, for the simple fact she's a striker and grappler hybrid, meaning she's something different from what Hinako is. Generally speaking, grapplers are characters more suited for advanced players. Same with stance characters. This is something I feel fighting games need to address to some degree or another, because as it stands right now, the learning curve between beginner, intermediate, and advanced characters is quite steep. If you look at game design from other types of games, you'll see that things are slowly graduated. With fighting games, it's here you go, figure it out, and have fun. For some players like myself who enjoy the challenge, this is great. But for the general public, that can be frustrating, and some people are going to be locked out of a given archetype just because of an antiquated design philosophy that needs to be addressed. If I'm being honest, Hinako is an intermediate-friendly character, which is something the King of Fighters needs more of. Let's take charge characters for instance. Leona is by and large a fairly easy-to-use charge character, whereas Ash Crimson is hard as fuck. An intermediate charge character would be ideal. That's literally what Hinako is, a grappler intended for intermediate players. So what are my thoughts on The King of Fighters Season 2? Overall, I think SNK did a fairly good job. I feel like the game is a bit unbalanced at present, but those will likely get worked out come Season 3, which I imagine will be announced any day now, and when it does, I'll do a reaction video for sure. I'm also presently working on a KOF 15 Season 3 wishlist, which I'm hoping to release in the near future. When I do, I'll pin a comment with a link to that video. I would say Shingo, Kim, Sylvie, Najd, and Hinako were good to great additions to the roster, with Goenitz and Duo Lon being mediocre to inconsequential. As a whole, SNK did incredibly well with Season 2. I'm not disappointed in it like I thought I would be. Want more of my SNK content? 2 of my previous videos will be popping up on screen now. Check them out, and until next time, keep blazing that trail.